And the Church of Christ, or the Iglesia Ni Cristo, is extending a helping hand through the Felix Manalo Foundation in various locations across Ontario and Quebec. We have our Eagle News correspondents on site to witness this act of giving. Take a look.
Poverty, a widespread issue in Canada, worsened by the pandemic. About 1 out of 7 individuals, or 5 million in Canada, live on the poverty line. With this, vulnerable groups such as people living with disabilities, single parents, elderly individuals, youth, and racialized communities are more susceptible. Unemployment, homelessness, the increase in mental illness, the need for food are among the effects brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Statistics Canada, in April, as public health measures increased or tightened due to the third wave of the pandemic, employment fell by 207,000, or minus 1.1%, and the unemployment rate rose 0.6 percentage points to 8.1%. In the city of Ottawa, the government and the public health unit worked hand in hand to decrease the number of cases of COVID-19. The shelters and community centers are getting the support they need from the city, from organizations, and volunteers. One such volunteer organization in Ottawa giving support to the city is the Felix Manalo Foundation. The Felix Manalo Foundation is the humanitarian arm of the Church of Christ. The members of the Church of Christ and volunteers of the foundation conducted their Aid to Humanity event supporting shelters in Ottawa such as Interval House, Matthew House, and Youth Services Center.
From the Church of Christ, we want to thank you so kindly on behalf of all of our young people who will benefit from these items. We have 2 emergency shelters for young people, 4 apartment buildings, but also we have locations all across Ottawa, not only shelters and housing programs, but also mental health support, justice services, and employment for young people. So these kits are going to go to our shelters and our housing programs for the young people there, because these are most needed items, not only during the pandemic, but always. And they're also items that sometimes are out of reach financially for our young clients. So thank you so much for thinking of others and caring for others, and we give you our gratitude right back and appreciate your support very much.
Reporting from Ottawa, Canada, this is Sabir Mufti. We live in interesting times.
Vulnerable communities in Gatineau continues to thrive in times of pandemic, with continuous lockdowns and stay-at-home order and changing in curfew orders. Shelters and community housing keep up on providing support to less privileged individuals and residents in need. One of the shelters in Gatineau, Quebec is Legitimi. Legitimi is a temporary accommodation center working with people facing challenges and difficulties related to social exclusion and homelessness. They offer support for people over 18 years old who find themselves temporarily or periodically without housing and without food. And they also provide psychological support necessary for recoveries toward anatomy. It has been a year since the center caught on fire and displacing occupant residents. As the center rebuilds, they are still in need of support. The Felix Manalo, a humanitarian arm of the Church of Christ, Iglesia Ni Cristo, conduct their Aid for Humanity event in Quebec and visited the vicinity of the shelter to give support.
These are homeless people who need a place to go. These are people who need personal belongings when they need a place to stay and who need to be fed and listened to. I'm sure that receiving personal hygiene products and food will help people a lot. We also have another center conferred to us called La Haute, which does have other people who are in need of transport and basic needs. It will help and fill a lot of people. It will help people a lot and sometimes not enough to help everyone.
Members of the INC engaged in a robust set of celebrations, promoting community spirit through purposeful acts of kindness. The COVID-19 pandemic has magnified systemic and long-standing inequalities. At the same time, it underscores the importance of community support. Being the social arm of the Church of Christ, the the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation's significant work in providing services for people to lead healthy and productive lives is...
Well, we have care packages such as hygienic products and also some care packages in terms of food, canned goods, and we truly believe that this will help.
Reporting in Ottawa and Quebec, this is Andre Lasma. We live in an interesting time.
During the pandemic, the needs of community and city for volunteer assistance and social civic works have continued unabated and have increased for some areas exponentially. In Ottawa, the needs of Canadian Blood Services constantly need blood donors. According to the Canadian Blood Services, blood donations are essential during COVID-19 pandemic to support life-saving care for patients. To answer this call, the members of the Church of Christ or Iglesia Ni Cristo in Ottawa conducted a blood donation drive. Members that are eligible to be donors heed this call and gladly donated. In Halifax, Nova Scotia, the members of the Church of Christ conducted cleanup in the community where they belong.
I want to thank you for the good work that you do in our community on a regular basis. I understand over the last year that it may have been more difficult to provide those volunteer services and contributions to our community, but I know that you still were out there trying to do your best despite very difficult circumstances with COVID in our community.
I'm very pleased to recognize the volunteering effort of the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, led by Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, for your dedication to supporting the community as part of the global humanitarian initiative, Aid to Humanity. The great work of Church of Christ members and volunteers supporting Canadian Blood Services through a blood donation drive and supporting, of course, the most vulnerable members of our community by organizing donations of hygiene products, face masks, and more. Thank you for all your continued hard work in our community. Despite not being able to acknowledge you all in person, I'm proud to know that you have supported so many through a most difficult year. Keep up the great work and God bless. Merci beaucoup. À la prochaine.
In Ottawa, Canada, this is Melanie Ronquillo. We live in interesting times.